good afternoon, good evening to the KR universe. We have with us Sir Mariano Santos, who is editor and publisher of Pinoy Journal in Chicago, Illinois. He has given us time to talk about his experiences and insights about the situation of the Rizal Monument in Chicago, Illinois. Of course, we know that this was part of the transcontinental trip that I have made. We went to Chicago, and lo and behold, we were surprised to see that the Knights of Rizal, monument of Dr. Rizal is barricaded and unable to be visited except for looking through the barricade to view his monument. There is also a lot of dead grass, long dead grass, and it is unkempt and in dire situation. So hopefully he will be able to give us some of his insights, history of and maybe even recommendations for the future for those powers that be who might be able to change this situation into something more acceptable to the Filipino people. Mariano Santos to help us clarify things about the Knights of Rizal and the monument of Dr. Jose Rizal in Lincoln Park, and the history and the present time, and then maybe even the future. And of course, this is all, he has been part of the Knights of Rizal and also very active in the community as editor-in-chief and publisher of Pinoy News magazine. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself briefly, sir?
Sure, gladly. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And I'm glad that I've been connected with Sir Erwin about this issue, and I'm glad to share what I know to elucidate about what's going on with Rizal's monument here in Chicago. I'm Mariano Santos, the Central USA Area Commander of the Knights of Rizal. And I'm also, my home chapter is the Malaya chapter, which incidentally is the chapter that initiated the monument being located here in Chicago way back in the late 1990s in conjunction with the centennial celebration of our Philippine independence. Okay, and do you want me to proceed and give a little brief history of the monument, Sir Alwin?
Sir, I wanted to ask you, sir, how are you? How active are you, sir, in the community, sir? What is your? I know that there's a lot of Filipino organizations and Filipinos population in Chicago. How long have you been in Chicago po, and what is your affiliation in Chicago aside from being area commander in the Knights of Rizal po?
Yes, I'm an old-timer here. Upon my registration as a registered architect back home in 1968, I started doing my application to migrate to the United States, Chicago being the center of architecture. That's my bachelor's degree, and that's my registration back home. So in 1970, I saw myself being in Chicago, and I stayed in the city ever since, never left. This is where I met my wife and had children and had family. And in 1971, I started getting involved in newspapering. I was a staff member of the Philippine Times, and it became the newspaper of record upon the imposition of martial law in 1972. And in 1979, it was taken over by the Lopezes, the owner of then the Manila Chronicle and the ABS-CBN, and I left for a while the journalism and took up my master's degree in urban planning and policy at the University of Illinois. And then thereafter, when my children had grown up, I revived Pinoy News Magazine in 2000. So for the past 23 years, I've been publishing Pinoy News Magazine. And it's there used to be 7 newspapers in the area, and Pinoy is now the only surviving newspaper of record of straight journalism that's existing, telling us on the flight of newspapering because of the new digital age. So in Knights of Rizal, I've been a member of the Knights of Rizal since 1998 upon the gifting of the monument to the Chicago area. It was brought in by then former Vice President Doy Laurel, who was the chairman of the commission, Centennial Commission under the Ramos administration. So there was this full-size monument that is being gifted to anybody who will take it in the United States. And,
sir, tatanong ko lang, sir, what was the involvement of the Knights of Rizal from the inception po of this project?
The Knights of Rizal was the Malaya chapter. The founding member of it, Mr. Roque, who has since passed, kind of took on the responsibility from the Philippine government to find a place here in Chicago to put up the full-size monument of our hero, being the first one full-size monument in the United States. And the Malaya chapter had taken over the fundraising to raise money for the pedestal. And it was quite a struggle to find a place. And finally, the Chicago Park District consented to give a space at Margate Park, that is in the north side of Chicago, near the famous Lakeshore Drive. So that's where it is right now. Okay. So that my chapter is very much involved in the erection of this monument here in Chicago.
So really, sir, it is not in Lincoln Park, but in Malgate Park.
Yeah, the lakefront is a continuous park in Chicago, and the Lincoln Park, the so-called Lincoln Park, is stopped at a certain point along the lakeside. And so this particular one, which is bounded by the Wilson and Lawrence Avenue, is called Margate Park. Okay.
Margate Park.
So that's the correct location. Okay.
Now, sir, in 1998, sir, how would you describe this location, sir, compared to now? I know that this Malgate Park, I've been there a couple of times. It's kind of on the northern east side of the main drag in Michigan Avenue. I'm not familiar, but maybe you can educate us.
It's Lakeshore Drive. Yeah,
Lakeshore Drive. Now, sir, how would you describe this location in 1998, and how would you describe this location now? I'm basically referring on the traffic, sir. Traffic of people, accessibility, and such.
Okay, I would say it's not bad, but it's not the most ideal, but it's very accessible, especially the Lakeshore Drive is a main thoroughfare upon the exit of either Wilson Avenue or Lawrence Avenue, which have exit and entrance ramp on the Lakeshore Drive. They can access the monument. But it's somewhat setback. That is our main concern. But there have been a struggle to find a location to put the monument. It's not easy. We approach different civic organizations, including the Archdiocese of Chicago, who would accommodate its place. We really wanted to find it where there's a high pedestrian traffic. But in the end, it's not the best, but it's acceptable. So
Yes, sir.
actually, the Chicago Park District is a very well-known and very prestigious component of the city of Chicago. So we took what we can get. We were not required to pay for the location, and so that's where it is. Okay.
Sir, right now, sir, that Malgate Park is maintained by the Chicago Park District.
Correct.
Okay, and you said it's free to house the monument. Do the Knights of Rizal help in maintaining the grounds around the area of the monument, or is it basically the function of the Chicago Park District, sir?
Well, the immediate ground, the pedestal is located on a certain marble slab, a granite slab around it. That much obligation is our obligation, including the three flagpole that carries the Philippine national colors, the national flag, and the United States flag, and the flag of the city of Chicago. And that much we have to maintain ourselves. But there around the ground, that is the responsibility of the Chicago Park District. Okay.
Now, sir, how useful, how accessible, how celebrated is this monument po after 1998? What I mean to say is, were there a lot of ceremonies, of course, from the Knights of Rizal? Is it featured in a lot of magazines, being very life-size and in a very prominent city as Chicago? And is it something that tourists, Filipino-American tourists, look forward to seeing?
Oh, yes, it's a popular destination, especially for those who value historical matters in our community. So, in fact, any VIP that is in town, usually that's one of the favorite destination wherein they offer some floral offering and have their picture taken as a souvenir. Yes, it has become a kind of a landmark with regards to the Filipino community here in Chicago.
So what can you, as far as you mentioned VIP, sir, do you have any memories of any prominent Filipino officials aside from the consulate? Maybe, you know, a fond memory of maybe the vice president or the president of the United States, or even the Philippines?
Who, so to speak, cut the ribbon, and there was a lot of celebration, was the immediate past president of the Philippines, Fidel Ramos, was there. And and in fact, the supreme commanders who passed by Chicago and visit us, it is almost like a kind of a mandate that they have to be around there and offer flowers and have some kind of pay their respect on the monument of our national hero. And among organizations, you know, whether it's the National Association of the Federation of Filipino Organization in the United States, NAFA, they are a regular there, and in fact, you know, who value the ideals and the life and the works of Jose Rizal, they inevitably find themselves around the monument, and it is serving its purpose as a kind of uniting symbol in the community, you know.
Now, sir, with the advent of progress since 1998, changes in society, changes in priorities in the city government. We all know the state of the monument right now, and we will be sharing pictures of those pictures you provide to me during this interview, and also pictures of what I saw. Of course, there's a barricade, there's high, tall grass. Seems like it's unkempt, and it's padlocked, so nobody can enter at their will, not like before. How did it ended up like this, sir?